Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Alton West. Today I will have a guest on from the City of LaGrange. Also, I will have a guest on from the Georgia Tech Innovation Center. So make sure that you stay tuned for those interviews coming up in just a moment.
Why United Way? Because in some way, everyone in our community is touched by your donation to United Way of West Georgia. Yes, everyone. United Way helps 25 local agencies touch thousands of lives, even yours. To cause so many good things to happen, these organizations must have volunteers. Fortunately, more than 2,300 local volunteers are now giving time to the 25 local organizations that United Way of West Georgia helps support. Yes, more than 2,300 volunteers. But more are needed. Yes. Please volunteer your time, as well as your financial support. You'll be astonished at what you'll receive in return.
Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm sitting down with Andy Camp, who is the Senior Development Specialist with the City of LaGrange. Andy, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Alton. Glad to be back.
Well, it's a pleasure to sit down with you because I know that there's a number of things that are probably coming on the horizon here for us as far as economic development is concerned. I know that you and your team of individuals there that work at the city have kind of been involved with that. But before we get started, tell us a little bit about your role, and then we'll kind of jump into a recent trip that you all took.
Sure, I'd be happy to talk a little bit about that. I work in the Office of Economic Development for the city, and I also work with our Development Authority. So I kind of split time between those two entities, although they are very closely related. And what we do is a lot of marketing efforts, mostly awareness, making sure that we're building relationships with our key partners. Many of those are in Atlanta, and many of them are in LaGrange too. So we look at ways that we're able to develop new business, things that maybe aren't here yet but are good fits for the community, but also things that are here clustered up that we're able to help expand, whether that's logistics or manufacturing, healthcare, service-related businesses. Those types of things.
Well, very good. You have a pretty exciting job, don't you, Andy?
It's very different. No one day is the same as the previous or the next. So
absolutely.
It always keeps you guessing.
That's right. Well, look, I know that recently you and the mayor and some other members of the community took a trip over to Korea. Talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind, and what was accomplished by making this trip? Sure.
We were invited to go to Korea to meet with Kia and some of their key technologies and supply chain folks. And the trip was at their request because one of the things about the Korean culture is that it's very important to build relationships. And really that's any culture, but particularly it's heightened in theirs. And we were very happy to get across. I believe everyone that made the trip had not been yet. So this was the first time for me, definitely, but I wouldn't want to misspeak for the rest of them. But I know it was the first trip for the mayor over there. And so our delegation was with him, and we met with Kia, several of the local suppliers in LaGrange, at their campuses or headquarters in Korea, and then also had a chance to build some relationships with some of their leadership. So. While we were there, some of the things that we took in, we did have an opportunity to get to know a little bit more about the culture. These are always important things in business to understand what makes people tick. But we had the chance to receive several presentations from these companies that provided us a better understanding of their goals and how we fit into that, how we can help them, and how we can be a good partner and steward with them and provide the opportunities for the local economy. I'll tell you, the biggest takeaway for me was how global Kia, Hyundai and Kia, Hyundai being the parent company, how global those companies are, even their suppliers. They're almost all of them have multiple offices around the globe, clearly have an automotive footprint in just about every continent, and it's kind of hard to put it into words. without seeing it firsthand.
I said that's survivability, and if you expand your territory, right?
Exactly, and you know, one of the things that they do in West Point with the automotive assembly plant there is they're providing autos to the U.S. So they're still importing quite a few to provide to fill the need that they have here, and I believe that number is somewhere around 600,000 units that Kia sells in the North Americas, being the U.S. and Canada, of which about 350,000 are produced in West Point, which is a big number. But as you can see, there's a gap there, and you know, that's some of the things that we discuss is how do we help them with that.
Well, very good. You know, it's always important that, you know, understanding the culture and being able to bring these jobs here to the West Point, Troup County, the state of Georgia is very important, you know, especially when we see it, you know, the time the economy is still a little sluggish and, you know, by some means, but, you know, it's great to know that, you know, you and the delegation, you know, have that, you know, foresight to be able to go over and to bring back information that's going to help us produce jobs here.
That's right, and we've seen those jobs created, and we continue to see them make growth. And actually, it's the unemployment rate in LaGrange or Troup County is the lowest it's been in the last couple of years. We're down to 7.5% now, so we're continuing to chop away at it and take it down. And they're obviously a very critical part of that number.
Right. So. Well, we're happy to see that number because we can remember when it was in 2-digit.
That's right. It wasn't that long ago.
Absolutely.
So we're real pleased where the direction we're headed in.
We're very good. And as we talk about jobs, I want to talk about something else that I know that you've been very intimately involved with. Couldn't get that one out. We recently here had an announcement through the CSX. Talk about that, and what does that mean for the City of LaGrange, Troup County, and the state of Georgia as far as that goes?
Certainly. We're very excited about this announcement. A little over a month ago, we formalized this announcement, but we've been working for about 9 months now with a consultant group that is CSX's consultant, and CSX is a railroad provider in our area, and they have intersecting lines, so it's a nice little hub, nice little location for them. 2 main lines coming through LaGrange to serve quite a broad area. As a matter of fact, we have several companies that are here because of that access. But we're also very close to their intermodal facility, which is in Fairburn, so just up the street. As we know, importing and exporting is a very big business in Georgia with the 2 ports, and you know, a lot has been spoken about with Savannah and the deepening. Right. So we're real bullish about that, and that we hope will continue to be good for us. But they're always trying to bring product further interior and try to penetrate the central part of the country. So LaGrange is in a good position between the 75 and 65 corridors for that type of expansion. So working with CSX and their consultant, part of the Callaway South Industrial Park has been designated as a CSX Select Site. Well, what does that mean?
Right.
Exactly. Okay. There's a lot of, that's the question. What it is this a site that's ready for rapid or accelerated development? Okay. And in my opinion, these are the types of sites that are very attractive to companies looking to put an asset in your community because they know that it's been vetted. So it's been vetted because it has entitlement in place, the correct zoning. You know, they know that it's going to, you know, from a setback and from a use standpoint, everything is going to be fine. It also has the infrastructure, something that we're very blessed with in LaGrange, is a very good utility and roadway infrastructure. They look at that, it's very attractive. But the real key component it has that not a lot of sites have, is something very unique to this one, is it has a lot of frontage on the railroad main line. And that railroad main line, once we get off of that, we have the ability to put a lot of different types of uses in there with railroad. So we've looked at the soils, we've looked at the terrain, we've done some preliminary design on it to try to understand how we could utilize it. Everyone's comfortable with where those numbers shake out, and now CSX helps us market that site, so they become a partner for us.
That's wonderful.
And it's my understanding that this site will also fall into the GRAD program, which is Georgia's shovel-ready. site program where they roll these things out, and then that gives us more and more exposure to having a site that's teed up and ready to go for that type of user.
Absolutely.
And it helps us diversify the economy as well.
Right. Well, you know, you're talking about that, you know, it's so good that we do have availability, we have the accessibility and things of that nature that makes us a prime target for development and growth in the way of jobs, as we've talking about, to help to drive that 7% even further down. And in talking about that, I know that there's another announcement that you want to talk a little bit about, and it's Honolulu.
That's correct.
Is expanding their production as well, correct?
That's correct. Over the last few years, our local industries, the existing businesses we have here, have expanded, adding about 450 jobs over the last 2 years, and about 250 million in new investment in the county. And this is a big number, so we're very pleased with that. That goes, that's just the existing businesses. That does not include some of the new ones that have come in around the area. So regionally speaking, we're very healthy in a job growth and investment point of view.
Okay.
Not included in that number is the new one that that you've alluded to, which is Honolulu and the Honolulu, Georgia operation.
Okay.
They are expanding, and they will be hiring an additional 80 people, which is a very nice project for LaGrange. And they're actually moving into an existing space that they're going to repurpose, a very good building, that they'll do some of the process and some logistics things in, and ultimately it'll just make them stronger in the area. And they've been a very good company, along with many of the Kia suppliers, and we're very pleased to announce that, and happy to have them here and continuing to grow.
Absolutely.
Incidentally, that was one of the companies that we met with when we were in Korea.
Okay.
So we're already seeing the fruits of that trip.
Absolutely. So 80 new jobs that they'll be producing. And some people may be looking at this and say, oh, 80 jobs, that's nothing. But when you talk about, you know, from when we were 12, 15% unemployment down to cutting that in half now to those 80 people that will be hired, that's a tremendous.
That's right. You know, I like to think that any one job you have is important, especially to the person who gets it.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
You're right in that, you know, there may be larger announcements out there, maybe even some coming to LaGrange real soon. We're always working on something. But 80 is a very significant number.
Absolutely.
And even one is a significant number, especially to that person who gets that job.
Absolutely.
So we're really excited about the trajectory that particular company and many of the other suppliers and existing businesses are in. Here in LaGrange. It's been a really good last couple of years, particularly for existing businesses. So that's something that we spend a lot of time working on.
Well, we thank you so very much, Andy, for your hard work and dedication, for making sure that, you know, the City of LaGrange, Troup County continues to grow economically, you know, and to become a diverse community that we are. And then when we come back, I think you're going to have Derek Woodham that's going to come on and talk about a relationship between the City of LaGrange and Georgia Tech, and how we are helping various businesses to grow their business, market their business, things of that nature. So I want to thank you very much. And if you hold tight for a moment, I'll get you back on just a second, okay? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Back from One City Week in just a moment.
At LaGrange College, your journey toward achievement may take you in many different directions. The arts, law, ministry, medicine. Experience LaGrange College, one of the South's most affordable, highly ranked institutions, and leave transformed. Discover more at lagrange.edu/transform.
Welcome back to City of LaGrange, ladies and gentlemen. We're now being joined by Andy Camp, Senior Development Specialist with the City of LaGrange, and also we have Derek Woodham with the Georgia Tech Innovation Center. Gentlemen, just want to welcome you all back to the show. And we were talking, Andy, with you previously about some things that's going on with the City of LaGrange. Now we have Derek here to kind of talk about a relationship between the City of LaGrange and also with the Georgia Tech. So Derek, if you will, just kind of tell us a little bit about your role, if you don't mind.
All right. Well, Georgia Tech's Enterprise Innovation Institute is sort of an extension arm at Georgia Tech, and we have a program that's a part of that organization called the Georgia Manufacturers Extension Partnership. And so our focus with the Georgia Manufacturers Extension Partnership MEP program is to support manufacturers in the state of Georgia with services to meet their needs related to growth, innovation, technology, those types of things. So in order for us to do that, we're regionally located out in the state. We have 9 regions, and the West region is right here in LaGrange, Georgia. And I'm the West Regional Manager for the Georgia Manufacturers Extension Partnership.
Okay, well, very good. I know that we're pretty big in the industry here, and Andy's a gentleman that finger on the pulse there. Talk a little bit about the relationship, Andy, that you guys have on a daily basis.
Certainly. Well, Derek and I work very closely with manufacturers in the community, and they have other opportunities as well to help companies become as competitive as possible with their processes. Also with some of the other things, and we'll let Derek talk about those programs in just a minute. We'll kick that back over to him. But what happens a lot of times is I will meet with companies fairly regularly as part of our business retention and expansion program for the city.
Okay.
But when it comes to the expertise in those areas, that's where Georgia Tech MEP comes in, and we will, through our meetings, try to identify opportunities and then connect them with Derek and Georgia Tech MEP, so they have the opportunity to work together and help those companies advance whatever program, whatever challenge, or whatever they see as a future goal of theirs that will provide them the growth and the competitiveness they're looking for.
Okay. And Derek, you were mentioning, and you alluded to, that there's various services that you all offer, and you mentioned a moment ago innovation and product development, things of that nature. Talk a little bit about those 4 service areas that you provide to businesses.
Well, we have a group of folks that focus on helping companies grow their business through innovation, through various market services that we can support them with. So growth, top line growth is an area of focus for us. And we also have a group that focuses on process improvement, lean manufacturing type services, Six Sigma type services, those types of things. And we also have, as part of that group, we also have folks that can go out and help companies with quality management systems, ISO type assistance. And our final group is really one that helps companies focus on reducing with sustainability type efforts, like energy cost reductions, environmental management type systems. And then we just have capabilities to go into companies and help them with various technology needs, engineering needs, those types of things. So it's most of our folks are all experts in various areas of working in the industry.
Okay.
And so we find the needs and we put the local expert on those types of projects, whatever that need is.
Okay, very good. So that I better understand, so you guys would come down, you have people that come down from Georgia Tech would actually go into the various businesses that needed these services, kind of sit up in their shop, or how's that done, Derek?
That's pretty accurate. We have a lot of our work is done on site with companies. We also do a lot of training and open enrollment type training with various things like with the lean programs and ISO type programs in energy and environmental. We have a lot of training courses in those areas, but our desire is to go into a company and sit down, really understand their needs, and find the ones that we feel like we can have the biggest impact with. And we're not selfish. If it's an area that we don't have any expertise in, we're like Andy. We'll help them find some support and some expertise in that area.
Okay, well, very good. And Andy, I know that you're there in the community on a daily basis, and you probably see and hear these various things. What has it been like for you working with Derek and trying to get these services to the various companies?
Well, Georgia Tech does a wonderful job providing those services, making themselves accessible. Anytime that we identify a need that we think Georgia Tech or even a need that we perceive Georgia Tech may be able to help them out with, call on Derek. Like you said, his office is here in LaGrange. That's very convenient. Sometimes I just walk down to Derek's office. It's that close. It's just a couple of blocks away. So logistically, it's convenient. Like Derek alluded to, they know where they fit in real well. They're very good at identifying that early on, so we can help a business know whether or not that's going to be the fit, or connecting them up to the right fit. And I mean, that I think is really the key, because typically when we've identified that need, they've already looked internally. They've a lot of times have vetted, we need some help. And so at that point, they're not really looking for a long, drawn-out solution. They're help us find the right person, help us get the solution that we need, so we can keep everything moving forward and producing our product or providing our service in the best way that meets our customers' their customers' needs.
So they're halfway at that point, just need that little extra over the hill push, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
And even though Georgia Tech does a wonderful job of marketing their services, somebody will come in new from out of state or something. There's a lot of talent that's drawn into the area. So we work pretty hard to make sure that they're connected up with that and they understand what's available to them. That's probably one of the larger scopes of our business retention and expansion program, is just making sure that everyone really understands all the resources that are available to them here. And Georgia is such a competitive state that we continue to see new businesses come in, and they're getting to find out that firsthand.
Absolutely. And I know that you all have done some impact statistics and things of that nature. Talk a little bit about how the business is faring. Can you talk a little bit about that for us, either one of you guys, if you don't mind?
Sure, I'll let Derek field that.
Well, we do, every 2 years, Georgia Tech does a manufacturer's survey across the state. And so we look at that information statistically and try to understand really what the needs are that they're expressing. And when you look at, for the last 10 years, last 12 years or so, we've seen an uptick in the need for trying to find ways to grow their top line. So innovation has been a big recognized need, and a lot of them don't know really what that is. It's kind of a hard, nebulous term to define for manufacturers, but really, how do we develop new products and services that we can go out there and find new customers with, or either meet the existing needs of our existing customers? So that's a big area. Workforce needs have always been a big challenge for companies, especially on the technical side. So looking at that along with and process improvement has always been. I mean, it's always one of the top 1 or 2 or 3. How do we improve our existing processes so we can be more competitive? We have better cost reduction, better cost savings, and we're more profitable. And that's everything that we're trying to do at Georgia MEP, is to make those companies more competitive through either growth, more profitability through cost savings, and doing things better. So we have a lot of the data, but to be honest with you, a lot of our determining what the needs are is like what Andy said. When we're going into a company, we sit down and listen to a plant manager or a CEO, an owner of a small manufacturing operation. That's where we really learn, and we have we've been in enough to know. We go in and we can assess and do a fairly good job of listening to what their needs are, and seeing and asking the right questions to get to pinpoint the real challenges, and hopefully we can either find some resources to help them resolve some of those things. Okay,
very good. You brought another question to mind there. Is there a company that's too small for you guys to work with, or too large for you to work with? The
MEP program is targeted towards supporting small, mid-sized manufacturing.
Okay.
Okay, that's our mission. That's how we're funded. So I would say that companies that are under 25 employees, we've tended to have some resources for those.
Okay.
But if you had to look at what we define really as small that we can, have a significant impact with, it's the companies that are, say, 25 employees all the way up to, say, 500.
Okay.
And I know that sounds large, but that's sort of in our sweet spot right
okay.
there.
Well, very good, very good. And Andy, you have alluded to the fact that Derek is right here in LaGrange. Go ahead and tell us where you're located, if you don't mind, Derek, and contact information, if you don't mind.
Okay. Well, you can reach me through emails. Is maybe the best way. It's derek.woodham@innovate.guytech.edu. That's .gatech.edu. And we're located down on Main Street in LaGrange at the Abbott Building at 133 Main Street. And so that's, come by and see us. We'll be glad to try to meet with you and help you guys out.
Well, very good. And I know that Andy, that you work closely with Derek and work closely over on the community development side. And I want to ask the question: do you see anything coming on the horizon that you may not can mention, but they're just kind of speculative?
Well, we always have something going on.
Okay.
Rest assured, there are a lot of markets that we've identified that we see for growth. Obviously, manufacturing is a really strong cluster in LaGrange, and really the I-85 corridor around Troup County. So that continues to be strong. Automotive is very strong. Kia clearly is a strong automotive player in the region, and those suppliers continue to make gains. And that's where Derek and I, try to help them out, identify what they need, and find a way to give them the resources to set them up for the highest level of success.
Okay.
One of the things that Derek and I do on a monthly basis is we have a forum that we meet with the senior managers. Some of those are plant managers, some of those are senior HR managers or production managers. But typically just one representative from each one of the manufacturing companies in the area. That group is typically between about 9 and 12 people consistently.
Okay.
And they come in, they talk to us. It is a confidential group, and they do some constructive sharing of ways that they're able to identify or find a need or look at a challenge that they're facing, and sometimes the experience in the room is able to give them some different ways of thinking about how to tackle it. It's very impressive. Those men and women are very smart, and it's just really humbling to be around them.
Well, we're very pleased to have both of you gentlemen working for us in the City of LaGrange, or not working for us, but working to try to make sure that our companies are at the best. And then I found out another little known fact about you, dear. I think you're an Alabama fan over there, even though you were at Georgia Tech.
Yeah, we got to keep that on the down low.
Okay, all right.
And Auburn graduate sandwiched between
there
two.
You go.
All
right. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank both of you all for coming on the show today, sharing this information, and hopefully we can see some things coming on the horizon from you, Andy, and Derek, from you as well. So thank you both for being on the show today.
Thanks,
all right. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We're back for more City Week in just a moment.
Troup County Schools. A place where you can learn and grow.
A place where teachers care.
A place where family and school come together.
A place where learning matters.
A place preparing students for a bright future.
Whether going to college
or into the workforce.
Troup County Schools, preparing students for success today.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining for City Week this week. My guests have been from the City of LaGrange, Senior Development Specialist Andy Camp, and he talked about some announcements through the CSX and also some increasing jobs through Honolulu. Also, I had on from the Georgia Tech Innovation Center, the regional manager, Derek Woodham, as he talked about how he can help small business with development and growth and innovative techniques. So by all means, if you need to give him a call, do so at the contact information that he left. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining for City Week. And as always, before I go, let me just say to my 98-year-old grandmother, happy birthday. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you've enjoyed the show today. And as always, I want to invite you back for more of City Week.